It's your girl Varcy, and welcome to In the Shack, where we talk about all things Junkanoo.
I'm Michael Pateman, and today we're very, very happy to be in the Swingers Shack. And our guest today is the leader of the Swingers, Big Mike.
Good day, everybody. It's Big Mike here, and it's a pleasure to have these good folks in the Swingers Shack, where we are going to talk Junkanoo. We're going to educate the public on some of the things that they may not have knowledge about with Junkanoo. Hopefully, after viewing this, you will have some understanding of Junkanoo in its entirety.
So I'm going to warn you, we are broadcasting in a shack, so it might get a little loud, it might get a little crazy, but we're still going to talk about Junkanoo and hope you learn and enjoy. So Big Mike, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, my name is Michael Miller. Affectionately known as Big Mike. My former leader, Anthony Williams, who led the Swingers for some 40-some years, he gave me that name when I joined the organization some 30-odd years ago, and it followed me up to now. I've been a part of the Swingers Junkanoo Group since 1990, 91, where I carried the role as lead beller for some 30 years.
Wow, 30 years.
Yes. I became co-leader of the group some 10, 15 years ago, where I was mentored by Hook as to how to run the Junkanoo Group and how to deal with its different members, which was a challenge. I officially took over the group about in August, October last year, when my great leader took ill. And he passed away in December of last year. Since taking over the group fully, I was not prepared for half of the challenge that actually came with leadership. You know, despite him teaching me some stuff, he was always the one whom took the lead, and I was just there as what you call a kickstand. However, since the last parade to now, with the help of my board and my chairman, myself and the group has grown through leaps and bounds. I cannot thank them enough for the support they have given me. I'm the leader, but we have a leadership team. And with that, I've seen the group grown from 120 members to now over 250 members.
Wow, you're up to 250 members?
Yes. And every day we have somebody wanting to be a part of this organization. So I look forward to the future of the group. I look forward to taking the group even beyond where it's at now. And I just want to say to our swinger fans out there, I know that some of you feel as if we let you down in some of the performance that we have given, but I'm sure you've seen and heard of some of the performance you've done in the past few months. That's only the beginning of the new and improved Swingers organization. So look forward to some great things from the Swingers. And to our competitors, again, you all also look forward to some great things from the Swingers.
Big Mike, I gotta ask, what is the biggest misconception of a Junkanoo leader you think you've gotten, in your very short time of leadership?
I would say that it's sort of difficult to say, simply because of me just now sitting in the chair. There are a number of things that comes to mind, but I would say one of the major factors is no matter what's going on, you have to find a way to make it happen. And there's no excuse. The members don't want to hear excuse. The sponsors really don't want to hear excuse. And definitely your fans don't want to hear excuse. There are days like this morning, getting up this morning, and my mind just went into overdrive as to what needs to be done. And then what it takes to make it happen. And especially if what you need is not there or not available.
Yeah.
And now have to face your members who's waiting on you to make it happen. And that's one of my biggest challenge. Everything else I could pretty much deal with. I have a problem, and it's a personal problem with running out, not having. And with Junkanoo, that happens often because there are times when you just can't. It's just not available. So you're going to have to put in your mind, make it happen. Somehow make it happen.
And you mentioned the key thing. You have to work for your sponsors. So we would be remiss to say that this podcast is actually being sponsored by Maravilla Rum. And we are looking for other sponsors, so if you're interested, please reach out to us. But I also have to say, we are drinking Sans Light while we're in the shack, so make sure you enjoy yourself.
Most definitely, most definitely. And any sponsor that wishes to come on board with the Swingers organization, we welcome, no matter how big or small. And we have opened our policy to our sponsors. We want you to come in and see what it is that we are doing. We want you to come and see where your dollars, what goes along with your dollars.
Right.
So by all means, if you're interested, come by, see what it is that we're doing, and speak to us, speak to the leadership team. You also want to know who we are. At the end of the day, if there's a problem, you want to know that there's a face to go behind, not just the name. I want to be able to say, this is the person that I need to speak with. So by all means, come on in.
Right. And so what I'd want to know, what's the interesting thing about Junkanoo is there's so many different personalities. And I know you mentioned the group growing. And so how do you as a leader, as a new leader, how are you dealing with the many personalities within the Junkanoo group? Because, you know, persons are coming from different walks of life. And I think that's also another thing that persons don't understand. You have lawyers, doctors, teachers, you know, students, is a whole array of people. And so how do you as a leader deal with that?
Well, that's an interesting question because it has two parts to that. I'm from Nassau. I was born and grew up in Camp Road.
We're not from too far from each other then. I grew up on Fowler Street.
Yes. I grew up with the Fancy Dancers Junkanoo Group, where I started from the age of like 12, 13. And for those who don't know that area, Camp Road, that's one of the hardest area to grow up in. You had to adjust to whatever's going on in Camp Road. So I was a part of a gang.
Well, hold on.
For those who in my area, you know, for those who could remember, there was the syndicates and the rebellions. I was a part of a gang, and so I learned to deal with people for who they are.
Okay.
After getting out of that, I joined the police force, which was almost like night and day.
Okay.
So you went from a gang to the police force.
Yes. And I can recall the weekend before I joined the force, me and friends were in an altercation with the police. And Monday I was in the police college.
What is this?
And I learned in the police college and through my 30-odd years in the police force, I learned how to deal with people for who they are.
Right.
Believe it or not, some of the most interesting people and sort of loyal people are criminals. And to them, it is what it is. They don't pretend.
Right.
And this is one of the reasons why I can pretty much adjust to persons within the Junkanoo Group.
In the environment.
I can be around you for about an hour or two. I can almost tell the kind of person that you are.
Well, and we got a psychologist here in the Junkanoo Group.
And I don't want to be around someone like me all day.
Oh.
So
And tell us why.
you can imagine being with yourself, around yourself, listening to yourself.
Someone being hypervigilant.
It will drive you nuts. So I kind of welcome the different personalities, the different mindsets, etc. And one of the things that when the day I took over the group, and the first meeting I had with the group was that this is not a dictatorship group. This is bring your mind, bring your thoughts, bring your ideas. We welcome it. And I'm the leader, but I'm not the do-all, say-all.
Right.
The smallest person in the group would come with an opinion, and it sounds good, so we run with it.
Right.
So it's not that much of a challenge, because I know for a fact that not everybody walks through this group, through the door of the shack as saints.
Right, right.
But I have policies within the shack.
Yeah.
A lot of your personal life, leave it outside.
Right, right, right.
All right, and be good.
So something you said earlier, you talked about your leadership council. And I have to say, this is one of the reasons we're doing this podcast, is because a lot of people, they go to Junkanoo and they have no idea the process of what you guys have gone through all year to get out on the parade route. So let's talk about how your leadership council works. Let's, for example, in picking a group theme. And of course, I know you're not going to tell us your theme just yet because it's still a little early in the year. But let's talk about the process of how does the group come up with a theme?
Well, after the New Year's Day parade, we would take a break, maybe a month, if that long. And we have a design team, which consists of myself, the chairman, and about 5 other members. 5 to 6 members. And what we do is that we sit down and we throw some ideas out. And then what we do is we send a memo out to the entire group. You have about 2 weeks to put a theme together. Put it in writing, or if you want to do a slide, and then you have to present it to the design team. Once the design team listens to it, there's a voting process where all persons whom present along with the design team, we vote. And take, for instance, this year we had 37 teams that were presented.
37 teams.
37 teams.
Wow.
It wind down to 12 through the voting process. Then it went to the final 3. Once we get to the final 3, then the design team then looks at the 3 along with leadership, and we see which theme can be produced best.
Okay.
So the design team then votes, have the final say out of the 3.
Okay.
So it goes to the final 2. And once we come to the final 2, it becomes easier because whichever one we decide, that next theme is the first factor for the next year.
Okay.
We've already had all of the designs, everything for the second theme. So once we go, unless the design team comes up with a better idea, that theme goes into the table for the next year. So it's a process, but it's not difficult. You find some persons become disappointed that the theme wasn't selected.
Yeah.
But we explain to them, we got to go what we feel as if is a winning theme for the group, not for an individual. So it's been that way for a while, and we have done some improvements with it, and everybody seems to be pleased with it. So we'll continue with it.
And how long does that process take?
The whole process, we give ourselves about 3 weeks, because we can't go too long trying to figure out what we're coming up with.
Okay.
Because bear in mind now, there has to be drawing that needs to be done. all of the various materials that needs to be done for that particular theme has to be sorted, etc. So we don't try to let it go beyond 3 weeks before we select and start running.
I'd want to know if one of the biggest obstacles when it comes to picking a theme would be funding.
Not really, because the funding comes afterwards. Afterwards. Once you select the theme, then the next step is to get the drawings in. One of the importance of drawings is that if, take for instance, Varcy, you are a builder, and you are our main builder, and you start construction, and by chance you take ill or you have to leave the island.
Okay.
You've already started the building. However, it's not completed.
Right.
And let's just say you have that drawing in your head. That goes with you.
Okay.
So I can now bring in a builder who now looks at the drawing and he can continue with. So that's why it's important to have the drawing for almost everything that you do, because it's not just you.
Right.
Should have this in mind. So we have persons who would pretty much draw all the costumes for the group, and that's another thing that's been working, and we intend to keep it going.
So when it comes to building, what type of builder would a group look for? What's the ideal builder?
You have to be an artist. Because if you walk in the shack and you see some of the work that's being done, the average person can't just come and do that. You have to be somebody who can draw, somebody who can estimate size, somebody who can do a bit of carving, somebody who can do a bit of painting. So you got to be pretty much an artist. And unfortunately, in Junkanoo now, especially in Grand Bahama, that's limited.
Okay.
NASA has a bit more, because it's funny, because you can take somebody who's take for instance a teacher in school and they got at art, but you bring them in a shack and they lost, because it's a different type of art.
Yeah.
They can be used to draw and paint, but when it comes down to, you tell somebody I need you to build a man out of cardboard, they'd be look at you like you're crazy.
Right.
Or build an animal out of cardboard.
A 3D animal.
The 3D animal.
Right.
Not just draw it. The 3D, and then after building it, you have to now draw it. And the thing with Junkanoo is this: you have to be even creative with the finished product, because now not just draw, you're gonna have to put the colors in this animal to make it look alive. Also, you want it to stand out, so you don't just want to. You have a dog, a black dog. You don't just want to paint it black. You'll have that same dog of pink, purple, green, orange. But when you look at it, you know for a fact that it's a dog. So all this is you have to look at. So it's not something that somebody can just pick up and do. Being on Junkanoo long enough, there's still stuff that I'm learning that I still haven't gotten down pat. So it's, like I say, it's an art.
Okay.
So you also talked about sponsorship and the cost of Junkanoo, but I think that's another thing. A lot of people don't realize how expensive it is to get a group on the road. And since we're talking about Freeport, and the prices in Nassau are going to be a little bit different, what does it generally cost you to get this group on the road?
Because of the size of the group now, believe it or not, it's going to cost the group well over $100,000. Some may look at it and frown at it, but that's just how it is.
Right.
You have groups in Nassau, for them to get on the road is $300,000-400,000.
Okay.
So when you look at that, you could understand why we say what we say here for Grand Bahama. One thing I want the public to be made to understand. They see the finished product for Junkanoo. However, the only thing that we get in Grand Bahama, or that we can find in Grand Bahama for Junkanoo, one thing that is not imported as cardboard.
Wow. So what's the reason?
Nothing is manufactured in the Bahamas.
Oh.
Not the crepe paper, not the glue, not the contact, not everything has to be bought in.
Sounds
Okay.
like you need to go back to Flower Park.
And the rats will take over.
Yeah, yeah.
Nothing is manufactured here in the Bahamas.
Okay.
Nothing is manufactured here in Grand Bahama. So even if Nassau has it, we have to bring it in.
Okay.
And believe it or not, the majority of items, the crepe paper, the feathers, the stones, etc., they got from China.
Right, right.
Shipping's expensive. Duty's
So
expensive.
you go online and you look at it, and you may say it costs $5, but look what's going to cost when it gets here.
Fact.
And I applaud the government for allowing us to bring in Junkanoo items with exempt.
Okay.
Okay.
That has helped the groups a whole lot. However, there's still a lot of money entails because
Right,
every day you walk in the shack, there's a cost of something, or there's something that needs to be purchased. Right now, I have to go and purchase like about 3 or 4 cases of contact. And one can of contact is near $100.
Oh, it's gone up. Wow.
Yeah.
So here'd be the question: what can outsiders do if they want to contribute to the daily life of Junkanoos in the shop?
What we do is we know for a fact that, and it is funny that you asked. Some persons we go to, they prefer to buy materials than come up with the money, which,
Okay.
and that's fine by me. That's fine
Okay.
by me. If persons are interested in supporting my group or any group, go and visit the group, find out the materials that they need.
Right.
You may have a business that you have a bond with Kelly's or one of these places. You may purchase the item bonded.
You bring the bond.
You have contact, you have white glue, you have masking tape, you have
Right.
paintbrush, you have adhesive spray. All this stuff is what we use.
Isn't
We go through the white paint, the flat white paint, the 5-gallon bucket. We go through them like water.
nothing.
So if you're interested, come in and bring some. If you bring a bucket of paint, you bring a gallon of glue, that's fine.
Bring a few beers.
That's fine. Like I say, water, ice.
Microwave.
We
fridge.
go through this stuff,
Yeah.
and we have people who in the shack every day, all day.
Yeah.
These people need to eat, they need to drink.
Right.
So all this is on leadership to ensure that these persons be comfortable while they're doing the work. This is not a job, but we got to maintain and support the people who are in the shack working.
Junkanoo's a way of life.
Yes.
Do you think that Junkanoo in the next 5 or 10 years would evolve past the point of us, I guess, being volunteers? Because I think for a very long time we've been volunteers of the culture.
Yes, if you are aware, in Nassau, there have been steps taken, especially with leadership, where there seemed to be some sort of compensation
Okay.
for these leaders who've been in Junkanoo for so long and their contribution to Junkanoo. We are trying to implement some things in Grand Bahama, which is why we were glad to form our own corporation here in Grand Bahama, which I'm a part of. And we recognize that there are some things that needs to be put in place because this is something that takes up the majority of your life.
Right.
Junkanoo has caused some families to be broken apart, and because one like me, I love this, and I wouldn't put it in front of my family, But I love this. I enjoy this. Other than that, I would just leave it alone because it could be stressful. But I think in the next 5 years or so, we're going to get to the point whereby there are benefits from it, and not just for the leaders, but Junkanooers. I see in Grand Bahama now, believe it or not, the culture itself is being demanded. We're getting calls every day about persons who want Junkanoo.
Okay.
They want to see the art. They want to be a part of, and that's something that we haven't had in a long time. So hopefully in the next year or two, there will be benefits from this for all Junkanoos who want to be a part of whatever we're doing. And then it's attracting tourists as well. So there are benefits that I see in the making for it, for Junkanoos, and to support the Junkanoo groups with funding.
Now, let me just add to that though, because I see a lot of times people will call for a Junkanoo group to come perform for them, and they don't want to pay. Make sure if you want someone to come and perform, even a small group, remember, they paid for their costumes, their
Right.
time, their talent. You need to pay for that, so stop asking for free Junkanoo. Yes, it's our culture, but it's a lifestyle for these guys.
No
and
Junkanoo for
you
free.
should not ask for it for free.
The thing is, I just had a conversation with somebody recently, and I said to them, my goal is to stop allowing persons to take advantage of Junkanoo. And you don't respect the Junkanooers. Every time we leave the shack with instruments to go somewhere to perform, it costs us even before you
Time
pay.
is money.
And on top of that, if I go to an event for you and I burst one of my bass drum, that's up to $200 I have to replace that drum back with. Depending on where it is that you go, I have to find transportation to get these guys to and from there. And I have to do that before you even pay. I have to ensure that they are properly dressed before I get paid. So when I do all of this, and then you turn on and you tell me I have to pay you, that's a problem. Because now I've spent Junkanoo group monies, sometimes my own personal monies, and getting us prepared for your event, for you to turn on and tell me. And it's a problem because a lot of the times I can't even relay the message, that message to my group members, because I wouldn't be able to get them to perform to half of these events.
And they're expected to get paid also.
And they're expected to be paid also.
One of my questions would definitely be, why do you guys think that persons lack the respect towards Junkanooers? Like, what is it going to take for us to create an environment where we are fully respected?
I don't want to say that sometimes you just got to boycott some of these events, because really and truly, I don't want to hurt Junkanoo itself.
Right.
But some of these persons, if they would just come and see some of the stuff that we're doing, again, even with these persons interested in Junkanoo performance, they want to see the finished product.
Right.
I have a saying, when they took over, the Swingers Junkanoo Group, we're building our brand back. And in doing that, you're going to have to go a little extra.
Right.
So, if for those who've seen the events that we recently performed to, they asked for 60 members. Psst. I brought 159.
Oh.
At Gombe, they asked for 25. I bought 115.
Wait, they only asked for 25 at Gombe?
Yes, and I
Oh,
bought
no, 25 is not enough.
I bought 115.
Wow.
And that's what we call building our brand.
Right.
Sometimes it's not about the money, because I can't pay 115 members out of what you paying me. But I have the group on board now to be made to understand. We fell off somewhat, so we got to try to get back on board the way we were. But in the same breath, the items that I need to put these persons on the road, that's costly. So I just want persons to keep that in mind. If you want a proper brand, support the Junkanoo groups.
So it's interesting you talk about rebuilding your brand. So let's take a little step back. I know last year's parade, you guys were a little disappointed with your third place finish. And the first practice that I attended of yours, I noticed just a whole bunch of people I'd never seen before. So you'll see a lot of the behind the scenes stuff in the documentary Varcy and I are working on. I'm going to put a little plug for our documentary here on Misconceptions Junkanoo, where we take a real behind the scenes look at Junkanoo and Grand Bahama. So I try to go to as many of the practices as possible. And the first practice I attended for the Swingers this year, I'm like, who are these people? Wait, where'd all these young kids come from? So you can see a rebuild of your group.
What I did after the parade, it's maybe you'll understand, it's difficult to change the path of something that's already in the path that it's going.
Okay.
For those, I'm sure persons would understand that. So what I did is I hopped on board while we were already in the path.
Okay.
This was the last parade. So what I tried my best to do is, okay, I can't change the path, so I'm going to try and just add to it a bit. I was disappointed in the third place finish. However, one of the first things we did right after the parade, we had a meeting and we showed slides of everything that we did wrong.
So you should ask me for some pictures. Unfortunately, I got some of those.
And I viewed everything that we did wrong. And we had a 2 or 3 day meeting with the section heads and everybody pretty much. And one like me, I put the past in the past. If you don't learn from your mistakes, then get out of it. You don't belong there. So I met with everybody, me and the chairman. And one of the things the first thing we did was we set out a recruitment drive. Because we had some people who just were complacent. They felt as if we don't need help. We got this. Well, we had to let them know y'all ain't got it.
Well, not to throw shade here, but I think third place has been a familiar place the last couple of years.
Yes. We
Platinum
went
Nights have
from,
won 6
we
in a
won,
row, and I understand Swingers have had 5 second places in a row.
Yes.
Not Swingers, sorry.
Rockers.
Rockers have had 5 second places in a row.
we came from 4 or 5 straight to go jump into third place. And I call it being overconfident. You practice the same old, and it's been working, and when the tables turn, because you haven't tried anything new, you continue doing the same old and expecting different results.
So you think one of the biggest factors for swingers would be the structure that you're implementing?
It has also, Junkanoo is a business.
Right.
Yes, it is.
And if you don't treat this as a business, it's going to fail.
Okay.
I brought some people on board, what we call our leadership team. These persons aren't Junkanoos,
Okay.
but they know business. And what they does is they, out there practice, they walk around with the group, and a day or two later we sit down. And I get rough up as to what it is that we do wrong.
Well, leader, you take the glory and the blame.
Yes, but I brought them in for that reason. And sometimes when we do the practice, I'll see them sitting in their car and I'll be like, oh Lord, please, y'all don't mess up. Because I know it's coming to me. So, but it's a challenge. And I love where the group is now because one thing that was missing from the swingers for years, we like one of those, not quite disorganized family, but we have our little hiccups. But we like a family. When we sit down like brothers and sisters in the room and we talking foolishness and we just having a joke and that's what I want. The young fellas that come in, we don't exclude them. I don't encourage them into doing nothing out of the way, but they're not excluded. Anybody walks in here and you're a part of the Swingers Group, we welcome you as a family. You're a part of the family. Anything that we do, we go like a gang. Although they can say they made ask for 10, I could never carry 10 because I got more than 10 persons interested in coming. Mm-hmm. So let's go gang them. That's the mindset that we have. Let's go and gang them. So I'm happy to where we are, but there's much improvement still to be done. And I can assure you, members of the public, Junkanooers, fans, our competitors, this is a different swingers organization. And I'll leave it right there.
Before we go, just give us one fun fact about you or the group. Pick your poison.
One fun fact. There's so many things that I can go at. There's one thing that stood out for me. Like I said, I was a lead cowbell shaker for years. Mm-hmm. And I always believed in going big and extravagant. I could recall.
Sorry, I was coughing.
One year, I decided that, you know what? I'm going to be bigger and better than everybody.
Oh, geez, I can see where this is going.
So I hid my costume from everybody. I remember the year we came from under the sea and I had a lionfish.
Oh, God.
When I never tried the costume on until we got out there. When I put the costume on, there was nobody could rush on the side of me.
I don't laugh.
We were on Pioneer's Way. So Pioneer's Way is wide. Mm-hmm. So you can imagine how wide my costume was, nobody could rush on the side of me. And as I was rushing up on Pioneer's Way, I started to get tired. And I looked back, and my bellas were kind of upset with me, so they drift back further. So I had nobody to lean on. So I was there fighting to rush. It got to the point whereby I was shaking my cowbells, and one of the marshals came in front of me and asked me, "Are you okay?" And I said, "Yes, I'm fine." He said, "No, you're not." I said, "Yes, I'm okay." He said, "You know how long you drop your cowbells?" I dropped the bells, but I was making the motion.
And you're the lead bella.
Yes. So all of the tension that I wanted, it was sort of negative attention because that's when I realized, and I have a saying now, it's called a Junkanoo Group for a reason, not a Junkanoo person.
Right.
So no matter how good you are, you need the entire group in order.
The humblings.
Yes. So I learned my lesson from that. I mean, I still went big, but I made sure I fit in with everybody could be around me.
Right.
And it's amazing now that I now educate, especially my bellas, give them some idea because it's so easy to get caught up in feeling as if you are the best. You are the best. And that's one of the reasons why I tell my members, don't get caught up in what people talk about the third place. Ask yourself a question, do you feel as if you're a third place group? And the answer always no. I said, so what are you doing to change that factor?
Yeah.
So don't just say no. What are you doing? You can't do the same thing you were doing. So what are you doing different to change that factor? And they understand that, okay, we got to do things different. And, I learned something from my mother, that if you know that you're doing something wrong, and you constantly do it wrong, you have nobody to blame but yourself.
That's a good one.
You turn around and you say this one cheat, this one rob, this one, but are you doing anything different in order?
They rob us.
And the thing is, this is one of the reasons why, even after the parade gone, mind you, there was some improvements because there were some areas that we won, some areas that we came second in that we haven't won in a long time. So that's
Something to build on.
something to build on. And when the group can see the bigger picture of where we're trying to go, and they come on board and they go along with what it is that the group is doing, not what I'm doing, not the chairman, what the group is trying to do.
Right.
It actually, it opens the eye of everybody else around them, because that's one of the main reasons why we put section leaders in place. I'm not there all the time, but my section leaders have my voice. So when you have the leader's voice, you got to act a part of a leader. You cannot be doing the same things as the regular members doing. No. You got to be the one to say, you know what, no, yes, this can't happen, this will not happen, because you speak from leadership.
Right.
And that's all I ask of my section heads, because I want you to know every event that we go to, and the last events that we were successful in, they would tell you the leader had a meeting afterwards and he chewed everybody out because he always finds what they're doing wrong. So, like I say, work still to be done.
Got something flying my bear? Oh, more protein. Well, Big Mike, thank you for coming on the podcast. So we have a little tradition that we're starting here on In the Shack, where we hope that all of our guests would like to try a little bit of Maravilla rum. And for those interested, Maravilla rum can be purchased here in Freeport at the Bahamas Maritime Museum or at John Watlin's in Nassau. I won't kill everybody with it.
Folks, I will tell you just how it tastes.
It look like it's sweet.
It's a smooth, smoky flavor.
Thank you.
And can I make the toast?
Yes.
January 9th, victory to the Swingers. Folks, it's awesome.
Well, we encourage everybody to like this video, share this video, subscribe to this channel, and look forward to the next
In the Shack. Bye.